let's break it down real quick. Romans 11 on how the GDP of every country is predicated on our people, God's people, the lost tribes, serving all nations. Right? Let's go to Romans 11. Thank you. Romans 11. And let's first read 11 and 1. Let's read that.
Romans chapter 11, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
I say then, have God cast away his people?
Have God cast away his people? Did God cast away the physical children of Israel? I'm not talking about a Jew through religion. You being an Israelite, we being Israelites, have nothing to do with what we're reading or whether or not we're a part of a religion. It's our bloodline. It's our birthright. Right? So Paul stated, I say then, have God cast away his people? Read.
God forbid.
No, he hasn't. Read.
For I also am an Israelite.
I'm a what?
I also am an Israelite.
I'm a religion.
I also am an Israelite.
Being an Israelite isn't a religion, folks. It's a national origin. We're not Negroes. We're Israelites. Paul was what? A what?
For I also am an Israelite.
An Israelite of the what?
Of the seed of Abraham.
Of the seed of Abraham. So when you go to that word seed, in the Greek, it's what? It's sperma, from the male sperm, including the male sperm or offspring. It has nothing to do with what religion you're following. We're from the lost sheep of Israel. Paul is emphasizing that he's an Israelite. And I'm going to tell you, this is why Muslims hate Paul, because he called out their father Ishmael as a usurper, a deceiver. That's why Arabs and Muslims say, well, we don't deal with Paul's writings. Because Paul emphasized, no, the promise belongs to us, not your father. That's why they've always conspired with Esau, the Vatican, or the people who went into the land of Israel in 1948 who were European Edomites. That's why they conspire together and they continually press these people in our neighborhoods as black and brown people. Who you think are funding the Arabs that come up all next to us as merchants? See? Who you think is paying them and giving them loans and free schooling to usurp us in any place we are? He says, I'm an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, read.
Of the tribe of Benjamin.
Of the tribe of Benjamin, read.
Verse 2. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew.
God did not cast us away. We were scattered according to the curse. But you know what? Listen to this. God never forsook his people. He was with us. Even though we lost the land of Israel according to the curse, he stayed within our hearts, our minds. We longed for Zion. When we were enslaved on the shores of America and were brought here, we were singing what? We were singing, that's right, Israelite songs. Over the river Jordan, let my people go. See? Swing low, sweet chariot coming for the carry us home. The chariots that guided us out of Egypt. We weren't singing about Africa. Africa is the middle passage. We didn't begin there and we wouldn't end there. See? The Most High never forsook us. And guess what? The whole world knew that this moment would happen. That at the very end, as was prophesied, the Most High would begin to do what? Raise the valley of the dry bones. And now, the whole earth is shook. The whole earth is shook. Not just because of us, brothers and sisters. The whole earth is shook because The nations of this earth have paid billions, if not trillions of dollars in false history, false education, and all of that to keep the truth of our God-given covenant with the Most High, to keep the truth of our origin from us. So they are afraid right now. Why? Because if anyone is communicating with God's people, it must be God. If we leave it up to them, we would stay lost forever. If we left it up to the Christian teachers, we would believe that we were Gentiles. We would believe that we were from Ham or Canaan. According to their theology. So because we know, and more people are finding this out, the powers that be and the principalities over your elected officials know that the same God who cursed his people are calling them back. No slaves, no empire. No slaves, no economy. Because the economy was set up off of our disobedience. All the economies of the earth was set up off of our disobedience. And now God, our people are starting to come back to the Most High now. Right? So it's affecting an economy that can only thrive off of our people's ignorance and sin against the God who put us here. And that's common sense, right? Common sense. If the whole world became rich due to our sin, it would be in their interest to do what? To promote sin amongst our people. They'll look at the book and say, okay, when these people did this against their God took his hedge away and allowed us to run roughshod over them. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll incentivize Nas X. We'll incentivize Sexy Red. We'll incentivize anyone who want to be a witch and teach the children not to follow God in Christ, but to become witches. We'll incentivize witches. We'll incentivize the thug life. We'll incentivize anything, because when we look into that book, those who committed all of those sins would stay under the Gentiles' rule according to their God. The Buddhists know this. The Buddhist sages know this. The East Indian sages knows this. The imams knows this over Muslims. They understand this. Even the Jewish people who are rabbis, they know this. And I'm not saying this because I'm not just throwing something at the wall here. I had a rabbi, Peace FM. You heard the show? Gaja was there. And the rabbi came straight out and said, your people won't stop sinning. They won't follow the law. And then the rabbi said this: I can accept you as a Jew. You are a Jew. But I'm upset that you can't accept me as the Jew. So they know we're the Israelites. He didn't deny it. It's still on record. You can find the video out there. A white dude said it. And the difference between him being Judah or Jew and I'm being Jew, we're not Jews according to what religion we aspire to. Okay? White people and other races of people, they can convert to Judaism, but they cannot convert to Judah. See? You cannot convert to Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon. These are God's people. And they know it. They know it. So here it is. It's in the Gentiles' interest to finance the sin that happens in our community. Come to find out, China in other big corporate countries, why would they finance love and hip hop in the United States? Y'all know there's Chinese money behind that too? Not allegedly. Look into it. Why would they in China care about funding love and hip hop in the United States? Because they understand the spiritual implication of it. If they can fund our people sinning, it can justify them coming over as what? Replacements and taskmasters over our people. Let's go to Romans 11:11 real quick. Let's go there.
All right.
Romans 11:11. Read it.
Romans chapter 11, verse 11.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Have we stumbled that we should fall?
God forbid.
No. Just because we stumbled as a people, God never forgot us. See? Because God in the Old Testament didn't just prophesy our fall. See? The prophecies of our rising from the fall is also written in prophecy. See? I wonder why Christians don't read this. Because even Paul is saying, listen, he says, I'm an Israelite. Don't think I'm going to stay down on the bottom forever. The Gentiles receive our records, folks, so that they can preserve them until the awakening. If they would have believed that they weren't the people or God's people, if they didn't lie to their children and they thought that this was for us the whole time, they would have destroyed this book, folks. They would have destroyed the Bible if they weren't tricked into believing that they were the people. And they tricked themselves by doing what? Keeping the truth from us. They had to lie to their own children. And through that lie, their children preserved the records because they thought the records were for them. If they would have taught their children, these Romans, the truth, that these blacks in America are the Israelites and the Jews out of the Bible, their children would have burned every book of the Bible you can think about. See, in order to lie to us, they had to lie to their own children. And through that, their children began to preserve our records for what's going on now. Right? It was white people delivering the Bible to us. Why? Because they thought they were the people, that they were the authority. See? Hey, I don't have to sweat anything. I don't have to worry about what y'all do with the book. We're the people, right? And then the Most High woke us up out of the book, right? And say, well, listen, you know there's a black guy in Revelation, the 1st chapter, right? And that in Daniel, the 7th chapter, Christ, the Most High, is sitting on the throne, the Ancient of Days, with the afro, a white afro. And then white people started looking at it. Now, give me that one up there, Ramar. See that big one?
Okay.
Right? Thank you. Right? It was like, no, surely we're the people. Right? You know? You see the Roman togas we have on. Surely. Look how big this Bible is. Listen, go to Revelations 1. I'm going to show you a man with black feet when John bowed down. And guess what? It's not because he had dirt on his feet. Okay? That's the same hue. They're like, well, surely the chosen people are white. Surely, look, you know, look at little Malone over here. You got little Malone over here, right here. You know what I mean? You got to watch out. Them Jesuits, boy, they get next to that priest. That priest want to have his way with him, right? Surely we're the people. Surely we're the people, right? Right? You put it over there. Surely we're the people. Right? Let me tell you what happens, folks. We go into the Bible as the children of Israel and are able to break this Bible down without any theologian background because it's in us. This is our history. No one up until this time in history in the earth, and you can put us up against anybody in the earth, could break down this book like the children of Israel. You can feel any way you want about Israelites. Okay? You can feel anything way you want, but guess what? Israelites can break down the book because why? It's our book. Okay, white people can have sermons, and that's okay. But you have never seen this Bible broken down like Israelites break it down. It's our book. And soon as we started breaking things down, and then we went into the history and showed you, according to King James the 6th and 1st in the reunion of the Christendom, that King James himself is and was a black man. I got the book. This is how you know that white people preserved the books thinking that they were the people. No sooner as we figured out that we were the people, white people became Buddhist. I've never seen so many yoga classes and Buddha statues and all these others growing up under Christianity in a Judeo-Christian country. So the only way they was going to hold on to that record in number, if they could show that they were the authority over it. Right? I need y'all to think about this. As long as we had white angels, naked, uncircumcised angels, and white guys like this looking decrepit and satanically handicapped and in front of a holy Bible. As long as you got to break down what satanically handicapped is. That's a spiritual handicap. As long as we thought that they were Isaac, Abraham, let me tell you, folks, white people, they wasn't going to let go of this book. But soon as they realized, that shows you, that shows their racism too, how racist they are. Right? That shows how racist they are. Or if it's black, I'll change my religion if God is black. Oh, I thought it doesn't matter.
It didn't matter to us.
Yeah.
You were okay.
I thought that, he got the whole world in his hand. It doesn't matter what color you are. God is colorblind. All that stuff they told us when we thought they were the people. So now we're dealing with a bunch of hypocritical liars too. Right? So let's get back to the riches of the economy real quick. Read Romans 11:11. Read that real quick.
Romans chapter 11, verse 11.
Read.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
So it says, rather through our fall, Paul, including himself being from the tribe of Benjamin, an Israelite, through the Israelites' fall, salvation came to the Gentiles. Right? Now, what's salvation? We're going to show you what their salvation is. Right? Because we were promised what? A kingdom of rulership over the nations. Right? So now, he says, because of the Israelites' fall, because we sinned against God's law, salvation come to the Gentiles. Now, some on the surface would say, well, this means that what? Gentiles can receive salvation. Well, you know what? We agree with that. But your salvation isn't to take hold of a covenant that was given to the 12 tribes. Your salvation is to fulfill your portion within the kingdom for your race or your nation, according to what's allocated to you as a Gentile through Christ. See, he has one lot for his people and another plan for the Gentiles who accepts him. See that? So, but let's see what the Gentiles got, because if Israel lose everything and was promised everything and lose everything, then everything end up what? All the riches, all the power that was promised to God's people would fall into the hands of the other nations. Right? Let's read it. Have they stumbled that they should fall? Read.
God forbid.
Read.
But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
To provoke us to jealousy. That means God's people would see all what the Gentiles have and become jealous. I'm like, well, hold up. How is that fair that these people who God didn't choose have more than us? That's what Paul wrote. So we will look at this and say, well, hold up. How do I get what belongs to me back for my family? Right? Some of us think we can get it by working under the Gentiles. But they'll only give you enough to work for them and to serve them. They measure their power by what? By how low they can keep us on the surface. They measure their power by our deprivation. So even Paul stated that when the nations get everything, God's people are going to be looking at these people and be like, hold up, these people aren't better than us. So why are they able to what? Why are they able to actually thrive and get more out of life than us? Right? So Paul is going to state why. 12.
Romans chapter 11, verse 12. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world.
If the fall of them be the what?
If the fall of them be the riches of the world.
If the fall of them be the riches of the world. Which means what? The world's economy was established on our fall. That's the foundation of their GDPs all over the earth that will sustain your countries as long as you help us keep Israel on the bottom, Judah on the bottom, Issachar on the bottom, Simeon on the bottom, Levi on the bottom. So if they can get these Asians and other countries, Arabs, they say, listen, y'all must work with us and we'll give you money in your economy and incentivize your children to go to our schools to help us keep the children of Israel on the bottom. They are waking up. If the Israelites rise as the people and God gives them their covenant back, our rulership is over and we have no money. We'll have nothing anyway. They will have nothing anyway. So they don't have nothing to lose. They don't have nothing to lose. So the economy of the world is predicated off of our people staying ignorant, sinning against God. And it's predicated off of us staying entrenched on the bottom. Are y'all with me here? And if anybody, listen, feel that, listen, hey, you're rock. You don't have to delete their You don't have to delete them. Just let them know if they have something to argue here. Then, you know, you give them an opportunity to chime in when we tell them to chime in. And we'll discourse it. We'll talk it out. We know trolls don't like to see Israel rise. Our people rise. Right? So now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, read.
And the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness?
How much more? What Paul is saying, what? If the Most High allow all the Gentiles to get rich off of the deprivation of God's people, how much more will we receive when God calls us back to the covenant? If we begin to realize we Israelites follow God's law, walk in the path of Christ, how much more will we receive according to that same covenant that was given to Moses? See? And then Christ shed his blood to give us another opportunity at the covenant. The Gentiles are losing their power. This is why they're waging war all over the earth. Okay, they're all disheveled. They tried to use LGBTQ. They try to use separating our families to try to get us off kilter. And the Most High resonated through all of that and said, listen, many is going to fall, but I'm going to have a remnant of people who will stand for me in this earth in the last days. And I'll use them to get to that righteous number of 144,000. Right? Now, I need y'all to check this out now. Right? I need y'all to check this out. Right here. Going back to the Democrat Party. Fair use. I need y'all to check this out. What Holman said not too long ago to, what's his name? Tucker Carlson. Check out what the Democrats were doing against our people. Listen to this. Fair use.
And the black community feels left behind because a lot of these people are, you know, they could use some of that tax money in Chicago to help them.
Just basically made it, you know, both parties have paid, especially Democratic Party, a lot of attention to what black voters want because they're a huge part of the Democratic coalition. And now that's not true. Anyone who says, oh, it's just white racism is, what is your average black person in Chicago, native born, family been here 300 years? What does he think of watching his city overwhelmed with illegal aliens?
Are getting massive amounts of care, right? Free hotel rooms, 3 square meals a day, free medical care. And the black community feels left behind because a lot of these people are, you know, they could use some of that tax money in Chicago to help them. They're taxpayers. They should have the first chance to get some of that help. But the mayor of Chicago just, you know, he's ignoring his own community. And I was up there just over a week ago, and I met with hundreds of people that were up there, and they're suffering because of the decisions to take care of these illegal aliens. I mean, I saw city transit buses parked running fuel as warming buses. How about taking care of the homeless people in that city? But, you know, they'd rather put these illegal aliens in a hotel room at $500 a night in the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City and give them 3 meals a day and give them free medical care rather than take care of their own people.
Now, I need y'all to check that out. Now, what do y'all think about that, right? This was Holman, who had an interview with Carlson Tucker. And you even have Esau looking at this and saying something is wrong. These people been here for over 300 years in the United States. And the Democrats would rather have criminals from Venezuela and all other places come into the country undocumented, put them not just any hotel, folks, luxury hotels that would normally cost one of us over what? $500 to $1,000 a month under the finances that was going through their NGOs while they were walking over veterans who fought for America, blacks, homeless people. Sisters don't even have a place to stay in shelters. So then you would ask, well, why would they bring in all of these criminals and all this? You know why? Because they know it would bolster what? It would bolster the criminality numbers, the mental illness numbers, the death in the community numbers, the death of our children numbers, more kidnappings, more rapings to justify the money that goes to their programs for these particular ills. So they see the numbers are going down because our people weren't participating in it. Understand that. So to justify shelters, abuse centers, and all these others through their non-government organizations, they would have to bring in criminality and put it next to us. So guess what? If a person is undocumented and you don't know who he is, and a crime is committed, that crime is going to be tallied as what? As a citizen's crime. So even though you had nothing to do with it, it's going to be tallied. If somebody called the police and say someone bust my window, and he put that in the report, even if it's somebody that came illegally or murdered somebody, that's a Chicago murder, a Philadelphia murder that can justify them now getting more money off of the chaos they've caused. See that? See that? Let's hear that once more. And you can give me your opinion on that if you have anything to say on it.
And the black community feels left behind because a lot of these people are, they could use some of that tax money in Chicago to help them.
Just basically made it, both parties have paid, especially Democratic Party, a lot of attention to what black voters want because they're a huge part of the Democratic coalition. And now that's not true. Anyone who says it's just white racism is, what is your average black person in Chicago, native born, family been here 300?
And the black community feels left behind because a lot of these people are, they could use some of that tax money in Chicago to help them.
Just basically made it, both parties have paid, especially Democratic Party, a lot of attention to what black voters want because they're a huge part of the Democratic coalition. And now that's not true. Anyone who says, it's just white racism is, what is your average black person in Chicago, native born, family been here 300 years? What does he think of watching his city overwhelmed with illegal aliens?
Are getting massive amounts of care, right? Free hotel room, 3 square meals a day, free medical care. And the black community feels left behind because a lot of these people are, they could use some of that tax money in Chicago to help them. They're taxpayers. They should have the first chance to get some of that help. But the mayor of Chicago just, he's ignoring his own community. And I was up there just over a week ago, and I met with hundreds of people that were up there, and they're suffering because of the decisions to take care of these illegal aliens. I mean, I saw city transit buses parked running fuel as warming buses. How about taking care of the homeless people in that city? But, they'd rather put these illegal aliens in a hotel room at $500 a night in the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City and give them 3 meals a day and give them free medical care rather than take care of their own people.
He said, y'all done voted these people in, and they're financing your own demise. And no one understands, it doesn't make sense. Why would you bring in some people to undermine a people who we just trying to survive through all of this? Loyal to the Democrat Party. They talking about trans woman in a girl's bathroom and running track and all this. And no one even understood what that was about. Because they had programs, NGOs, where finances would go through transition and children in Venezuela, in different countries and all of this. It was about siphoning money instead of taking care of our people who were suffering and built the country. So they was coming up with anything, naming it an NGO, so that they can siphon money during a time where Sleepy Biden was in office. It wasn't about helping gay people or trans children. It was about the programs they can use to justify the money being siphoned to their particular non-government organizations while our people suffer. And then at the end of it, the next administration will come through and say what? We all out of money, y'all. We're broke. We don't have anything. At the same time that they know that even in ancient Egypt, the only way to make restitution is to give the same people, the children of slaves, full board reparations. Not all the people you got coming over, the children of slaves. That would be the only way that they could be able to even things where our people would be able to defend ourselves, as well as now criminality will go down altogether, because now the majority of things we're doing out there that's criminal is because we've been put in what? A compromised position, an impoverished community that have been like that for generations, where it don't lead our people any other option than criminality. But they can't do that. They would never do what's right. And why won't they do what's right? Because they know we're on their heels and can compete with them entrenched at the bottom. They can't stop us on the low level we're at. We're God's people. So they definitely not going to try to put some finances on it.
Right.
I mean, folks, you have to think about how much they hate us. The Bible says Esau has a perpetual hate against us. Speaking of the government powers. We at the bottom don't have nothing, but guess what? We influence everything. And our righteous currency outweighs their physical currency. What's in us, you cannot put a price on. And that's what they can't stand. Okay? So again, what happens? So there was a deal that the Gentiles made together and they say, listen, God's people will be going into captivity. We're going to set up an economy according to this prophecy. And through this economy, all the races, all the Gentile nations will benefit off of the children of Israel's slavery. All nations, all throughout the earth. That's where your UN, your alliances came in at, where they fight over what? How much of the pie they'll receive on our people who are on the bottom, off of our people who's on the bottom. So as soon as we fell, the Bible says they begin to what? Send gifts to one another. What was that gift? People. Revelation, the 11th chapter. What is that gift? People. So they begin to send gifts to one another. What are the gifts? Our people, our children. Like when you see these crazed white liberals going into Africa, bringing our children over and all of that, doing all types of stuff to our children. That's how you know something is wrong with these people in Africa too. Who would allow these deviants to come over and adopt their children. There ain't no philanthropy. Turning these children out, putting dresses on them. Doing a public international humiliation ritual. Like Charlene Theron had got 2 boys from Africa and put dresses on them. Then what they'll do, turn these children out, mess their minds up and send them to school. Send them to school, train them in communications, right? Political science. And next thing you know, they'll put them in front of us and call these abused children our leaders. Like a Barack Obama, anybody? They'll find these children, mess these children up, then raise them and give them a political science class, turn them into Marxist, and then they'll dress them up and put a camera in front of them and they'll become your leader.
Speaking of that, Elder,
yeah,
because that was something that infuriates me when I'm looking at this. When you look at your Democrat-led cities, like let's say Chicago,
yeah,
black man is a mayor there, right? Washington, D.C., a black woman's a mayor there. Then you go to L.A., another black woman is a mayor there. So all these Democrat cities are led by our people. So the sellouts selling us out, that's really what infuriates me. Our people complicit, just like you're saying, these people that they groom to be in these positions to sell us out.
Yeah, they groom. And we think they put these people in front of us and we'll think that, oh man, the first black man, we need to get behind. We need to get behind we need to get behind a black man. Man, this is history. Martin Luther King would have loved me. Martin Luther King would have said, what the hell is this? You get these orphans, they're raising from these other countries, turning them out, Satanists and all of that, and they'll dress them up and say, listen, here's your black leader. A straight humiliation ritual. Like you see on your screen right here, folks. She goes over into Africa and adopt 2 little boys. Let me show you. Charlene Theron. Right? I need y'all to look at this. Charlize Theron. Hollywood. They go over Africa, give a few dollars, and she's from South Africa too. They go into one of these villages, get these little boys, bring them back to the United States, and look at this. And do what? An humiliation ritual before everybody. Look at this. These demons. These demons. Look. Folks, that's a little boy right there.
Can't even tell.
That's a little boy. Humiliation ritual on Judah. Then later on in life, they'll grow this, whatever's happening here. Now, imagine what they're doing to this child at night, folks. How can this not be child abuse? And that's why I don't care. When they put out that LGBTQ and all this old stuff and try to make it seem like that's a white thing, it always comes down to them aiming this stuff towards us. See? Perverts. Let's go back to the book of Revelation real quick. Revelation. Knowing what? Knowing these boys now. Now we're living in a time where the next generation they're not going to grow up as ignorant as we were in the naive black Christian church. The cat's out the back now. All children growing up are going to know that we're the children of Israel. And no matter your race, they're going to know. So now they're getting in front of it. Well, what we'll do is we'll turn them out before they become adults. So now they can't grow in Christ's army against us. See? We'll get to the children first then. That's what they're doing now, folks. Now that their school can no longer lie and claim that we're Hamites and Gentiles, and now they're saying, you know what? We'll get to the children and turn them out as babies. That this is warfare, folks. Let me tell you, man, that's how you know I don't want to hear nobody come over here talking about talk. Let me tell you, I don't want to hear nobody, in all due respect, different parts of Africa and all that. You can't come over here putting your chest out about culture and all these other things. Okay? Esau know that he can't come and grab one of our children in our neighborhood and try to do something like that. And we are the minority in this country. We're the minority here. You got a country where you are the majority in the billions, and let a white woman and a white man come over there and just grab your children and do humiliation rituals all over the place. It should be a law right off the bat. Nah. You can't adopt our children. You made us third world. You're going to bring us up to the status we need to be so that we don't need you to adopt our children. And on the international market, we need to become competitive, or none of your people can get any resources from up under our feet. Africa was supposed to stand on business. You cause deprivation, keep the country down, and then come through and saying, well, I'm here to help the little children who can't because they're starving, when you're responsible for the starvation. The people were supposed to stand up and say, you know what? No way are you gonna come over here and now pillage us and embarrass us before the world by taking our children and turning our little warriors into girls. That's failed African leadership. That's what that is. That's failed African leadership. We living in the United States. Guess, folks, we're the minority in the United States. Judah is. And they know they can't do that to us. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Revelations 11. And let's go to the 10th and 11th verse.
Revelations chapter 11, verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another.
And shall send gifts one to another. So when we fell, when we lost Jerusalem, all of the nation powers came together and celebrated. And said, what? We shall send gifts to one another. Read.
Because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
Because these two prophets, which is Israel and Judah in the Old Testament, tormented them, their forefathers in the Old Testament. When it says two prophets, it's speaking of the two kingdoms, Israel and Judah. So now the Gentiles remembered how we would give them Hades in the Old Testament as pagans standing with our God. So no soon as we fell, all their religious leaders got together. All of their powers got together as far as politics and say, you know what? We're going to keep Israel on the bottom and we'll share their children in captivity, through the captivity. And we'll hide our intent. And what do they hide under, folks, according to the scriptures? How do they hide? They hide as merchants. I'm just here to set up a store. I'm just here. I have silk. I have spices. That's been their game since ancient times. They come in with merchandise as merchants, but really they have other intents. When they come into your neighborhoods as merchants, they become spies for the government. They become spies for their government. See? When they come in to take the loans that was for your people and set up more businesses. Then they bring their family over and it expands against you because what? That's right. They have a problem with you and your God. And they have a problem with that book because that book puts them back in their place. What book? The Bible. Oh, yeah. They didn't know that we were to go into the Bible and not just identify ourselselves, folks. But now we can identify them. I know your daddy, Esau. See, I know your daddy, Japheth. I know your daddy, Ishmael. So you come over here as a merchant trying to peddle your little religion when really it's about keeping our people what? Perfectly, perpetually entrenched on the bottom. And Judah sees you. So it says that they would begin to do what? They would begin to send gifts, right? They would begin to send gifts because we tormented them in the Old Testament. We were against their sages, their warlocks, their procrastinators. We were against their pagan beliefs. See? Read. And after what?
Romans 11, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them.
And that's what's going on now, folks. The time, and the dividing of times. The Spirit of God now has entered back into the children of Israel. Read.
And they stood upon their feet.
And they stood upon their feet, what?
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
And that's what's going on with your Gentiles right now, folks. They're fearful. They're looking at their time running out and stating that, okay, God's people has awakened. And if they go back to that God, there's no way with the Gentiles serving lower gods, they're saying to themselves, there's no way they could contend with us if we get back with that God who dispersed us. They remember in history when our forefathers tormented them for sin. And now they're seeing the same people stand up, staking claim to our true heritage and covenant. That's a sign for all Gentiles. So now they're rallying together for the final desolation against our people all over the earth. They've tried to use LGBTQ. They've tried to use Marxism. Every ism they created was to keep us on the bottom, folks. Capitalism, which means you must have a people to capitalize off of, starting with slave labor. And now we're not even dealing with the same level of criminality we used to now that we know who we are. So they're going to go with the script of criminality anyway. Right? Now, I need you to go here. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. Hold on. And let's start at the first verse. This is where we are now. Read it.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him.
Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness. That's what they're seeing now. Esau can't stand to see it. See? Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such that has afflicted him. Read.
and made no account of his labors.
And made no account for his labors. They know the right thing to do is to give our people who built the country reparations. They know that. You're talking about the Jews got billions of dollars, if not trillions, under a 10-year span of persecution during World War I and World War II. I need y'all to think about that, folks. So they have set the precedent of what you do for the Jews if the Jews are persecuted. Well, what about if Judah is persecuted? And it wasn't for a span of 10 years, but a span of hundreds of years. So they know what the president is. When they put the Japanese in internment camps in the United States, they gave the Japanese loans, they gave them free schooling, finances, businesses, and all of that in the United States, while the people who suffered here before the Japanese got absolutely nothing. See? So why would they give the Japanese something, other people something? Because they have to incentivize these people to stay over Judah. Mm-hmm. Judah is their problem. Judah is their problem. And folks, I'm going to tell y'all something why Judah in America has always been the problem. I need y'all to think about this, folks. There's a such thing as epigenetics. So they weren't just selling any people into slavery from Africa to here. We were the ones fighting against the white imperialist over in Africa. We were the ones saying, listen, don't let them take, if you give them an inch, they're going to take everything. We were the ones fighting against them, folks. And it was our brothers in Africa who agreed with the Vatican and say, listen, anybody that withstand this progress, you need to hand them over to us. That's in history, folks. So we were the ones standing up, rebelling against the imperialists of the Vatican. So what they would do, they would take our families and say, this particular area of kingship of Judah don't want to progress, and the Vatican would fund one side of Africa against the opposition. And the opposition was sold. That's why I hate that stinking castle over there in Ghana right now. Because the sellouts stayed. Not all, and I'm talking about the height of the government. The people that was over the government of Africa was sellouts. And they sold their own people to get down with the Vatican, believing the Vatican wasn't going to double cross them. And that same spirit of rebellion lives in the belly of Judah till this day. It's the spirit of truth, resilience, and what the world call rebellion. And that's the spirit they've always been afraid of, because in Genesis 49, it stated that Judah would stand as a lion. Because all the other tribes they've already bowed to the imperialists. And Judah, being the minority, still fought and still fight, not just for himself. See? See? Let's read that last piece again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1.
Yes.
Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as one have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors.
And made no account for our labors. We're already destroyed and destitute. And guess what? They're even planning more against us. They've been planning more against us. Listen, I'm going to tell you, and I told people, do not listen to them. when they shut everything down during that pandemic. I said don't listen to them. It's against God what they were trying to do to us. Read the second verse.
Verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear.
And when the nations have terrible fear now. That's why their only recourse is the army at the very end. Now, right now, what they're doing is posturing to some degree like it was during the time of Nero. Showing what? Showing a presence of military force so that we're used to the optics. So we're used to the optics of seeing armies. Because guess what? This is not about no petty crime in D.C. This is showing forth the optics of military so that this generation will get used to it. So that when they do come in the desolation, during the time of desolation, they'll already have military in place. That's what this is right now. Read.
And shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation.
And may be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. Read.
So far beyond all that they looked for.
So far beyond all that they looked for. When they see us rising, and they're looking at it, folks, the nations will be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation. And it will be so far beyond all that they look for. They're going to look at us, folks. They're going to be perplexed and amazed. And I'm not talking about in a good way. They're going to look at us, elders. They're going to look at us. And they're going to look at each other and say, damn. These were God's people we oppressed, that we killed, undermined, destroyed. They're going to be totally they're going to be totally perplexed, the scripture tell you. They're going to look at it and be like, those people? They're going to see Christ, a black man standing there tall as all of us with a bush, chilling with us. You know, the Chinese going to be like, Esau's going to be like, hey, Esau's going to be trying to get out of the back door.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be amazed. Buddha's not going to save them. Allah is not going to save them. See? Christ is going to shut the whole thing down. The Vatican is going to be totally shut down by Christ. The whole thing, just a sign outside. We're closed. And it all started with the oppression. And I'm going to tell you, folks, that's why they are trying all they can, folks, to water down all of the talent and culture that came through our oppression. It shaped something different in the earth for those who went through the belly of those ships. It shaped something different. The way we would sing, the way just something else was developed out of that oppression. Okay? I'm going to tell you, something was different out of it. And that's why they're trying to water it down and just put all cultures up against it so that, because it's something spiritual that must be respected, that leads all people back to the Almighty. And they're trying to cut that off of us because the passion in the children of God that leads us back to the Almighty is too much for this world. And it's given our people too much credit. Too much credit. They don't want that. But it's really our God speaking through us, standing with us. See? Let's read it.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 3.
Come on.
And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach.
These are the people we call the N-word. These were the people we laughed behind their backs and called them all types of dirty names. And here it is, they thought these nations began to believe that they were better. Right? Having delusions of grandeur. Not realizing that if God didn't put us in his condition, none of you people could have done anything against us. Okay? It wasn't through your might you're in position. It was through our God that gave you this position. And you don't even got enough respect through your satanic religions to acknowledge the God who've given you temporal power. Buddha didn't give you the power. Allah didn't give you the power. Satan, the God of this world, didn't give you the power. You're ruling because we fell. Because we sinned. That's why you're ruling. So you're doing everything to do what? To keep the sin machine going amongst our people so that you can try to measure your satanic evil lives as righteous above ours. But when they see us stand with Christ in the Almighty at the very end, the 4th verse says what? We fools.
Verse 4, we fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor.
They thought that we would die without honor. That's why they loved to tout these statistics of black on black crime and how many of our people die and how many of us drop out and all of that. How many baby mamas. They love to insinuate all the negative that they've created in our communities. They love to insinuate the drug dealing and all this when we know that it's been proven since the 90s that the CIA was behind the drugs that came in with crack and all that. But they love to tout the numbers. We fools, they're going to say. We accounted his life as madness. We were laughing at these people. Read. And his end.
And his end to be without honor.
And we thought that at the very end, no way would these be honorable people standing before God in all white at the very end. Read.
Verse 5. How is he numbered among the children of God?
That's going to be the perplexity in the Gentiles. They're going to ask themselves, how are they God's people? How are they numbered? You know how we're numbered? Faith. No nation in this earth could have went through what we've gone through. Listen to this. No nation could have went through what we've gone through and still have faith and love for the God who said he would do this to us. See? You all would have been turned to atheists, unbelievers. But we understood what? We understood it was because of our actions that the Most High would have to have us go through a lesson. And we weren't going to forsake him because of our forefathers' sin. See? All of you nations, you would have became atheists and forgot God altogether if you would have gone through what we've gone through. You don't know what it is to have faith and have true belief in our God. We are a living example of it. You can say what you want about our people. And yes, we've made many mistakes and we'll continue to do so. But you have never found a people on earth who love God more than us. And would stand with Christ. Even at the very bottom, we're grateful. And we still have the strength and faith that Christ instilled in this earth before his death. And guess what? We still appreciate Christ's sacrifice. And no other nation who've gone through what we went through would have still believed in that God. See? And that makes us different. And that's why you're going to be amazed. Come on, like, man, these people had some real faith to get from there to there. Mm-hmm. What you're seeing through all the oppression is the making of God's people right before your eyes. You just don't recognize it. Huh? It's in our DNA. You got it. You got it. Read it. Therefore, 6
into 5. And his lot is among the saints.
And his lot is amongst the what?
And his lot is among the saints.
Yeah, Mother Teresa ain't a saint. There is no papal or Vatican saints. Speaking of saints, when it says that they will do what? That they will send gifts one to another. I need y'all to check this out, folks. So when did they begin to send gifts one to another? Once we fell. You have to use the bathroom? You good? You good? All right. Look at what it says about Pope Nicholas IV and the Portuguese slave trade. When it says they shall what? Send gifts to one another in the book of Revelation, the Vatican would be what? The chief honcho executing these particular international laws on earth to now sell the children of Israel to the other nations as part of the Gentile agreements. Look at this. With Portugal's expansion into the Western Africa in the 15th century, Iberian merchants, there you go, began to recognize the economic potential of a large-scale slave trafficking enterprise. Now, they're putting it into full effect based on what's written of in Deuteronomy 28, what Paul said in Romans 11, and that's right, in the book of Revelations when it says the Gentiles will begin to send gifts to one another. And they're so brazen with it, folks, they wrote it down. They wrote it down, how they would celebrate now the children of Israel in captivity. This Deuteronomy 28. And this came from the Vatican under who? Pope St. Nick. Yo Santa Claus. Listen to this. Iberian merchants began to recognize the economic potential of a large-scale slave trafficking enterprise. Folks, this was before GDPs. This was before your current stock market. Folks, the whole market of the world, the foundation of it is the curse of Deuteronomy 28. St. Nick would do what? He would bring gifts to people all over the world. Well, what if you found out the gift they were talking about are the prophecies of the children of Israel going into slavery? So they're looking at us like fools every year, celebrating Christmas, not realizing we, the children of Israel, is the butt of the joke. We were the gifts being sold with our families getting separated all over the earth. And now we celebrate December 25th like it belongs to us. One of the first to record this sentiment, according to the Portuguese royal chronicler Gomes Enes de Zora, was a young ship captain named Anton Gonzalez. Goncalves, who sailed to West Africa in 1441, hoping to acquire skins and oil. Merchants, folks. They always come under the guise of setting up a store. You see this? The same old game, how they come into our neighborhoods. When really they're eyes and ears for the governments who are seeking to keep us oppressed, folks. When something goes down in our neighborhoods, they go directly to the corner stores or the markets to get what? Insight and intel on our community. It's the merchants. They're government plants. After obtaining his cargo, Goncalves called a meeting with the 21 sellers who accompanied him and unveiled his plan to increase their profits. And this is where you get, folks, when you look at this whole article, this is what? The beginning of the slave trade that they would use to set the world market. And if we can keep these same people enslaved, by default, the Gentiles will stay in power. Then it talks about all the wars to expand the black African slavery. And guess what, folks? I hear so many people talk about what? They talk about the expulsion of the Jews from Spain. Folks, they were talking about us. These were the blacks of the diaspora from Judea. The expulsion from Spain weren't white Jews. How do we know this? Christopher Columbus was a white Spaniard Jew during that same time period, and he was getting paid through Isabella and the Vatican to come over here to try to find a passage to where the 10 tribes were here. There's history. I got a whole book with them chronicling all their history. And folks, this is from the mid to late 1800s, a book on it all. That was our people who was expelled from Spain in the 1400s. And then guess what they did? They took us on ships and dropped us off with no clothes on the shores of Africa during the Great Expulsion. That wasn't white people, that was us. Okay, this truth is ruffling the little feathers. I think, no, I know, listen, Esau, listen. We understand the gig is up. You don't got to worry about it. If you come to Christ, we'll still accept you as our brother. I know you feel a certain type of way that, you know, that the straight degeneracy that's connected to your history, right? And they like to come up talking about, yeah, look at this crime, look at this crime. How can a white person talk about crime? And in comparison, we don't steal whole continents. How dare you come and try to show what demographic commits the most crime? Okay? When we live in when the whole continent is a crime scene from you. I mean, are you kidding me? Even the Bible says you are a fugitive. Just a criminal on the loose that hasn't been judged yet. But it's okay. A black man is coming to judge you. So it won't be me. I'm just a servant. Okay? So I know y'all like to say, yeah, y'all criminals, y'all this, that, and that. Yeah, listen, it's okay. I know you have to do something to feel good about yourself, right? With your history that's filled with just thousands of years of just bloodshed and carnage and straight debauchery, and also we can't forget this. We can't forget the history that y'all have with little kids. Let me start bringing up your history now. You want to talk about Caligula? I mean, Caligula was such, let me tell you, he was such a satanic freak. I'm going to tell you, listen, no animal was safe around Caligula. Right? You want to talk about Nero? Nero, who seen a little boy who looked like his deceased wife in the face, told his guard to go hijack a little kid, castrate the kid and put a wig on him. And guess what? Presto magic, Nero has his wife back. Those are your heroes. See? Christ is ours. Right? So now, going back, right? Going back to your Saint Nick, right? Going back to your Saint Nick. Yeah, Saint Nick. Here it is. Saint Nicholas became Santa Claus, right? There it is right there. Saint Nicholas. Same Saint Nick. Right? And when you go down, it says what? Most likely a black Moor, the name given to Africans, were captured and sold into slavery. The Dutch had the preeminent slave trade in Europe, and one of their roles was acquiring and transporting slaves to America. Slave trade was abolished in the Netherlands in 1863, and while some locals perceived wearing blackface and dressing up like Black Peter as an innocuous tradition, because Peter was a black man, others viewed the practice as distasteful connection to the past. There go your Saint Nick, folks. Which goes directly to what? Nicholas the Fifth, who draft the laws in the 15th century that would lead to the transatlantic slave trade to trade black slaves from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. As a pact they had, Esau with the Gentile nations. That gives us the image of the modern day Christmas that was created by the same Romans who founded America, who now made this criminal a child's hero, attached to a Babylonian god, Tammuz, and his mother, Semiramis. Someone asked, can I share the link? I definitely can. I definitely can share the link. I'll share both of the links with you if you would like.
Did you want to get Revelation 18 when it talks about the merchants?
Yeah, let's get it. My brother. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all both of the links. Right? Y'all trying to get an academy lesson out of me today, ain't it? That's one link. And that's the other link giving you the history. And this is actually, believe it or not, from white papers linking the slave trade to the papacy. That's where you get your St. Nicholas from, that demon. Okay? From the papacy. You can have both of the links. Y'all see it right there? Yeah, let's get the merchants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Revelation 18?
Yeah.
You wanted to pull it up? Or
Oh, yeah, I'll pull up here.
Okay.
Yep. The merchant. So all the nations are nervous right now. So when you see the world up in a roar, and unrest going on, and every time you look, military and all these others, We're giving you the true reason behind it all, folks. They have to do everything to destabilize the world. And as a domino effect, they move people in place that would keep us entrenched on the bottom, knowing that the Most High has awakened the children of Judah and the rest of the tribes. Right? Let's get it real quick. What you have?
Revelation 18.
Revelation 18. Let's get it.
Start at verse 2.
Revelation 18 and 2. Read it.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
When it says a cage of every unclean and hateful bird, brothers and sisters, what is it talking about? It's the spirits these Gentiles are bringing over with them. The pagan demons and spirits and principalities they worship, they bring them over here, sacrifice on altars, and do what? They pray against us in these communities, these merchants. They come in to pray against us and to harm us so that now they can bring their children in to replace us. That's what immigration has always been about. Read.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
And that's why when they come over here with businesses, they aim all their businesses towards who? Our people in the community as consumers. You would think if we are the minority in a country, that they would usually aim their merchandise towards what? The dominant race. Do y'all notice that, folks? Anything they're selling, they must what? They must get us to actually move it for it to actually become successful. See? This is why they put them next to us. Because the Most High have always given us the ideas of ingenuity, creativity, things that they're not born with, folks. And it amazed them that we're giving up everything that we have naturally for nothing while everyone else get rich. And we give it up because to us, we don't think it's anything special because this is what we do. Or they'll sit next to us and just watch us in the stores. Is that a new dance? Is that a new style? Is that a new swag? And they'll go back to China and say, yeah, I think I got something. They'll set up a whole company based on what we do naturally.
Next thing.
Look at Kanye West. And we do it and we don't even think anything of it because we're just naturally creative like this. But the other nations, they be sitting there just watching us and listening to us. And okay, what's the next style? And next thing you know, they're on the phone in India, China, talking about, yeah, let's make it. We're going to set up a company and this is what we're going to do. This is what they're doing right now. But now we're talking about, well, no. You're no longer going to exploit our talents anymore. And we're wise enough to understand that what the Most High have given us is proprietary. Almost everything we do can make money for everyone else. So your merchants are just spies in our community looking for the next big thing so that they can make money off of us. Why? Because they have no talent. Okay? Straight up. What God gives us naturally isn't in every other race of people, folks.
Drop down to 11.
Let's drop down to 11.
Verse 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
And that's what they're going to be upset about, because now that we're pulling back, there's no need for the merchants. There's no need for them. Now you see what's going on, folks, right now. You got a lot of people leaving the country, stores shutting down, because guess what? The grift is up. The grift is up. For the first time in history, in history since our slavery, we're talking different. We no longer feel what? It's a privilege to be exploited by those who don't appreciate us. Our forefathers used to think like that. Just to get recognized, we were willing to get exploited. There's a different generation going on here. We're talking different. We're talking different, right?
Moving different.
We're moving different. A different conversation. Let me tell you, when you can have, I've seen DJ Vlad apologize more in 1 year than I've ever seen a white Jewish person apologize publicly. And you know why? Because we're getting on code. We're holding them to the fire now. And we're letting them know, you're nothing without our talent. What would you be without us? You're going to have to put some respect on our name going forward. Or we will participate in your downfall. Folks, what's going on? A power shift, and they see it. We tell our people not to buy something and say, don't, guess what? There's shops which is shut down. We tell people don't support you. They see their numbers going down. Vlad see that everybody's looking at him, and everybody, not to say he is, but people looking at him like, well, okay, he's always trying to get somebody locked up. And they suspecting that he's fed. I don't know. But people are being what? People are being careful in how they associate with him. And I'm sure he tried to call people to come on his program that he wanted to. And a lot of people say, well, nah, we're not going to break ranks. You know what he did? He apologized. Because we're calling you out now. See, you can do that when you know who you are. Okay? We God's people. We're not no lackeys. Okay? You should be privileged to be in our sphere, not the other way around. What have you added to us outside of exploitation? And see, the Gentiles are hearing that now. The conversation is different, and they can't see any way, they can't find a way to exploit it. So what is their recourse now? Let's just shut stuff down and start bringing in armies.
Babylon is closed for business.
Babylon, that's right. We're moving different. We're talking different. And that's a threat to them, because usually Esau need what? He need inside data to actually plan. Whatever his future plans are is based on information. But he can't get that information once he's what? Locked out of the house. Like for years, the Jesuit Zionist, okay, was able to exploit the black church, come through with their hacky theology that kept us in the dark concerning who we were. See? And now, no one takes the black church serious anymore. See? They don't take them serious no more. Men aren't going to church no more. The gays done took over the church. And guess what? That's not even church anymore. And now, we dictate what goes on within our worships without Jesuit intrusion. And they don't know what to do with themselves. They've been locked out. They have no idea what to do with themselves because there's no inside control. That's why you see them running around trying to interview and try to talk with people. No, you've been locked out. We see you people. Go back to what's left of the black church you ruined with your false doctrine. Right? Where are you?
Verse 12.
Verse 12, let's go.
The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men.
And that's what the merchants are going to be mourning, that they no longer have the slaves to exploit. Folks, that's what immigration is. They're bringing in other people because Israelites has awakened, and we're moving differently. So they're bringing in reinforcements. But guess what? They can bring all the gods they want. There's no Gentile that they bring over, folks. No Gentile. Whatever they do, there's no salvaging the daughter of Babylon. Because it was us the whole time, our spirit holding it up. Okay? I don't care who you try to get. And all due respect to any other culture. I don't care who you try to get and try to restructure the culture of America. Judah is American culture. Understand that. The Cowboys. Folks, do you know we were the Cowboys? And they seen us lassoing and doing all that with the cows and all that. And next thing you know, Esau put him on a hat and became a cowboy. Okay? We started singing the blues. And that came out of chattel slavery. A whole new genre of music never heard on the earth, abstract, that was also used as a form of communication. A lot of people didn't know that. It was code communication because white people were just playing certain music, but our music had a communication factor to it, a political factor to it. Well, we can communicate without them knowing exactly what we were doing. Abstract music. Okay. Rhythm and blues.
Even rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Okay. We, Judah, we gave the world James Brown. Y'all gave the world Mick Jagger. And people out there still think Mick Jagger can dance too. It's time for us to realize our worth and the spirit the Most High placed in us. And understand that spirit never died. It's what they're trying to kill. And the only way that we can fully appreciate this is to take on our name, the children of Israel. Everyone else has benefited from our fall, our ignorance. Our power is when we come back to understand the value of what the Most High have given us through spirit. What else you have?
Just a few more.
Come on.
Verse 15.
Verse 15.
The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Drop down to verse 23.
23.
And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived.
By the sorcery, your witchcraft, and all your satanic religions were you deceived. Y'all deceived yourself. Read.
Verse 24.
And it was in her.
And in her was found the blood of prophets.
And in America was found the blood of the prophets. Read.
And of saints.
And of saints. Read.
And of all that was slain upon the earth.
And all that was slain upon the earth. Brothers and sisters, it's over. Let me tell you, this thing is over. So what the nation's doing now? They're just restructuring things, the whole economy, for the last leg of control they have. That's why the mark of the beast must be implemented because Israel, the children of Israel, has awakened. And what they're going to try to do is bar us out financially throughout the earth under the new commerce system to force us to acquiesce to their power and agree to stay under the Gentile nations. That's the only way. This is their Hail Mary, literally. This is their Hail Mary. The only way that we can force them to stay under their servitude is if we change the system where they have to be under servitude to survive and agree with it outside of the alternative, which is living off the grid with the God they claim will save them. That's what they're thinking. Many of our people are going to bow. The same faithless people who bowed during the pandemic and listened to what they told you. They're going to tell you the same thing. You're going to lose your job if you don't do it. You're not going to be able to pay your rent. You may get fired. All of this, and you're going to be looking at what? You're going to be looking at the here and now without realizing that you're sacrificing the rest of your life for that one particular moment. Many people aren't living right now because they were trying to save their life in that moment. And when Christ said what? In order for you to save your life, you must lose it. You must be willing to stand with the Most High 10 toes down, even if it was you and him with nothing at all, because that's what you were when you came from up out of your mother. That's what you were. And at the very end, when it's all over, it's going to be us standing for as an individual standing before God in judgment. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.